to the program, Michael C. Hall. What a pleasure to see you again. You too. How are you? Great. The last time we talked was on the CNN show, and
yes,
I'd only known about Kill Your Darlings, but hadn't seen it. I've since seen it.
Yes.
It's a really interesting role for you to take on, and quite a story.
Yeah.
When you watch it back, what do you think?
Well, you know, I went through a period of fascination with the beat writers and that time and the atmosphere in which they came together, and I was aware of their work and also aware of this story, amazed that it had never been told, so I was really excited when I saw the script. And it was compelling for a lot of reasons. A character who is addicted to a feeling more than a substance, but he's lovesick, I think. And it was also a chance to, you know, spending the majority of my time up until recently playing Dexter, a chance to turn the tables on myself and die rather than be the one who does the killing.
But it's still, all of your work is just about corpses.
I can't get away from them,
yeah.
whether I'm making them or being them. There's a dead body somewhere.
Burying them.
Or fixing them up, 6 feet under.
Harry Potter's in this film. Daniel Radcliffe, who's been on the show, is incredible.
Yeah.
Did you know him much before?
No, I met Daniel doing this, and I was so impressed with him, his decency, his work ethic, his talent, his remarkable self-possession, especially considering that he's been super famous since he was 9, you know, and for him to be as down to earth and very much about, you know, the work and the craft as he genuinely is was an inspiration, really.
Is there a difference between being really famous and super famous?
Really famous and super famous.
I mean, you're a really famous guy.
Yeah, I think I might be really famous. He's super famous. Yeah. Like when we work next door to elementary schools, I mean, just the kids like crawling over each other on the chain link fence, just screaming, Harry Potter! And he was unfazed. I mean, I think it happens to him daily.
You've come a long way too, right? Don't you feel in your mind just being able to move away from those two characters that you played? Yeah,
and I say it only half jokingly, to play someone who gets killed rather than is doing the killing, who's the victim of someone's murderous impulse. Rather than acting on it, it was cathartic.
Was there residue from Dexter?
Yeah, I think there probably still is. You know, even though we only took about half the calendar year to shoot the show, when we were off, there remained a preoccupation, you know? You're still kind of tied to the train tracks, waiting for the train to come again. And now that it is, you know, Dexter as we know it has ended, the 8th season is wrapped. It's you know, a real soup of feelings, some sadness, some wistfulness, some pride, but also some relief at not carrying around the obligation to simulate this murderousness.
Right.
And also a sense like shaking it out of my head, having, you know, played somebody who kills people and is able to go on with his life. There's a sense of, what have I done? Oh my God, you know? I'm sorry. I know it was all a simulation, but I think there's some part of me that thinks it really happened. Anyway.
But that's almost like a mild PTSD, right? Being in that head for a while.
Yeah, well, I think there's part of us that records ritual and reality in the same way, and we're sort of in a state of deep pretending when we're acting, and maybe there's a part of me that on some level thinks that all that stuff I simulated really happened.
Right. Well, even before you got the character, didn't you used to tell me that you stalked people on the street to practice?
Not before. I used the fact that I got the part to justify the stalking.
Right.
But yeah, I was living in New York at the time, and yeah, I had some time to kill. I had some time to prepare for the role. I'd done some time to kill. I'd done some research, reading transcripts of interviews with serial killers, documentaries about the phenomenon of serial killing, books by FBI profilers. But one thing I did, I would go out by myself in New York and try to find someone who was also alone, maybe go to a restaurant with a bar and have a seat in the corner and find somebody. I know this is creepy, but... And I would, you know, watch them finish their meal and endow them with all kinds of reprehensible characteristics, a potential victim for Dexter. Yeah. I wasn't going to actually do anything. And I would see what it felt like to follow them a little bit.
But spending so many years between that and 6 Feet Under in that world, imagine you might have a really different understanding of humanity because you had to live in another headspace.
I definitely haven't avoided. I mean, I think Dexter and 6 Feet Under appeal, and any show or movie that deals in life and death appeals to the most fundamental common denominator that we have. We're all gonna die. Yeah. They're obviously looking at that from a different point of view, but in as much as it's encouraged me to focus and refocus and consider that fact, it's probably arguably fostered some sort of spiritual side to my consideration of not just what I'm doing as an actor, but what it is to be a human being, that we all have that in common. I mean, I think the fact that our time here is finite is a big part of what gives life meaning.
Did you feel that way before you had your diagnosis, your cancer diagnosis?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you know, my mother's firstborn child, who died in infancy before I was born, was someone I came to be aware of as a very young person, and maybe have been surrounded by death in ways that are... Right? Yeah, my father passed away, so it's something that was a part of my consciousness maybe from an earlier age than is true for most people. The fact that I've done work that focuses on that common reality might not be a complete accident or complete coincidence. I'm not sure.
As an artist, if you do it right, and you can tick off these emotional boxes that you get to explore when you do something. And you spend a lot of time in this space. Wide, but still this space. Are there parts of you that you'd like to explore? Places you want to visit?
I think a lighter, more inherently comic place would be nice. A more expansive, rather than interior, navel-gazing energy that I think was maybe characterized both 6 Feet Under and Dexter in different ways. I mean, doing something like Cabaret, something like it, again, would definitely be a change of pace.
Anthropology time. You've done car commercial voiceovers, right?
A bit.
Yeah. What's your best car commercial guy voice?
Well, it depends on the car. You know, if it's a truck, you know, it's got to be kind of swarthier and rockier and more gravelly. But if it's a thing that's gonna, you know, do something for your family and that kind of, you know, it depends on the car.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's my motivation, right?
Yeah.
I love
what kind of car am I selling?
Great to see you, man.
Sure.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your colleague, Michael C. Hall.